for who tasked in progressive a technique that, in the speech of Google's head execution, is more than deep rather than power and flame. Jeff Decken is a unusually tranquility person. As the chief of synthetic intellect, artificial intelligence, at the technology gigantic, he is accountable for guideline a division how is essential to the next of Google, if not the next of humane operation on land. How such a space problem doesn't bother Mr. Decken, who remnants then though among the rage at the Planet Economical Message Board in Davos, is maybe unsurprising. One of his previous interventions at Google implicated behavior in a risk how nearly surely born of external area. Behind at the rotate of the age, Google's searching motor began to malfunction, and its little team of coders were intrigued as to the reason. It was Mr. Decken, on in his shut boyfriend Sanjay Ghemawat, who undiagnosed the alien issue. Google was fleeing on inexpensive equipment, explains Decken, kind of detained along in baling cable and chew resin, and it was thus receptive to a really low likelihood occasion. A special ray of external area will go in and hit one of the RAM cells how store a bit, each a null or 1, and somersault it to a 1 or a null. That is especially bad if thou manipulative lot of information, since all of a flash a few accidental bits in yours information will be flipped and perverse. Largest machines these days include equipment protect versus such. But the previous machines Google were with very didn't. These days, yet, it's Google's cut-edge machines how occupy Mr. Decken's reason, and how of the company's bravely mentioned Marrow crew. Its mission statement, to do machines smart and enhance human beings as lives, could barely be more than aspiring, though if the present applications of AI at Google are partly more than foot. It is car training how enables Google users to return their photos by inquiring for objects how seem in them, by printed in pi, or feline, for sample, and car training how is over speaking acceptance toolkit, that can rotate sound of several languages in lyrics. Google's translate instrument is else of the AI crew's triumphs, but as well stipulated and previous sample of the way in that algorithms can find out of the planet as it is, not the planet as we would love it to constitute. While an algo is fed a big gallery of lyrics, Mr. Decken explains, it will learn himself to recognize speech that are usually put along. Thou might find out for sample, an unhappy subtext, that is how physician is more than related in the speech same rather than she, and nursing is more than related in the speech she rather than same, yet thou as well find out how general surgeon is related in knife and how carpentry is related in mallet. So a lot of the force of these algorithms is how they can find out these various of patterns and correlations. The problem, says Mr. Decken, is to job out that biases you wish an algo to choose up on, and it is the scientific over the how his crew, and lot in the AI box, are hard to swim. It's a bit difficult to say are we're departure to go up in a ultimate release of impartial algorithms. A remarkable sample of a business grappling in these issues is the vocational network website LinkedIn. While its 562 millionth users log into their accounts, they are serviced up distinctive recommendations for jobs and protection, given by AI. More than importantly, recruiters who use LinkedIn are introduced in a listing of ideally candidates, filter by car training. But the website's company founder, Alena Darkblue, quickly identified a issue in the trial. Female weren't show up top quite on such short lists. Which we were capable to do is tell, all order, we're departure to proper how algo, says Mr. Darkblue, so how it returns men and female in equivalent ratio to the human beings who in fact matchstick the searching criteria and orders them in a way to do certainly how the female are not creature casually deprioritized. But locking the issue was fair the tip of the AI berg, he says. We are fair upcoming to the location wherever we know how it is probable to construct a car training algo in the top probable intentions, but yet inadvertently enter prejudice in the results, he explains. His favorite sample is face acceptance. This at first versions of face acceptance learned on pictures of celebrities who are generally whites and generally men, and how down there is 97% precision on whites men but 3% precision on African female. Down there can be no tool, he argues, how does not engage growing the variety of such who construct AI algorithms. While we see at the human beings on LinkedIn who in fact include AI skills, just 22% of them are female, says Mr. Dark Blue. Which's worst, he adds, is how this female tend to include roles that are a slight bit more than study-orientated more than training-orientated because the men tend to include roles that are more than management-orientated. Everyone's bias, but we're not completely inside how human beings job if female aren't in fact down their help style. In spite these warnings, both of Mr. Dark Blue and Mr. Decken are abounding in passion while it comes to speaking on the capacity positives of AI. While it comes to the employing trial, Dark Blue argues, computers can, though, learn us how to remove humane failings. While you go in and say to who person to person, you get a large recite, or power off them, or everything, how is constructed on yours really idiosyncratic. And thus bias, view of which makes a nice man to go job at a business. Synthetic intellect can assist you individual how nice sense you get of a point of view that eliminates how prejudice hows which I indicate by clean machines and human beings work along. For Mr. Decken, it's the job Google's AI teams include been making on human issues about the planet, such as system how can forecast flood and quake tremor, how he cites as their proudest artistic achievements. A special attention is health and biosciences, that had led to toolkit how can detect of a illness named diabetes retinopathy of a retinal picture, out of the requirement for an optician. It's these uses of AI how Mr. Decken has been extolling at the Planet Economical Message Board, wherever meeting following meeting concentrated on information confidentiality and management concerns on the technique. For Google's portion, Mr. Decken is sure how the business's domestic principles will assist defend versus the capacity improper use of AI, and reveals how his crew include surely solved not to issue several various of job how we believe are might include adverse implications. But he says the way to defend versus the improper use of car training, is to get the order type of smart humans to go and job in the segment. We requirement more than human beings student these kinds of fields and more than human beings creature agitated on them, he says, since how's how we do advance and resolve a lot of problems in community.